allowing yourself to ask yourself a question or discover what you want is one of the highest forms of liberation.
But it wasn't a meme. It was him holding a gun to the the camera.
I didn't know what I wanted.
Mm-hmm. There's a difference between financial stability and wanting to be somebody's sugar baby.
This isn't even just about vocalized expectations. This is about legalized expectations. Hello and welcome to the To My Sisters podcast. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Renee, and we are your online sisters and hosts of the To My Sisters podcast.
We are all about promoting the wellness, growth and development of a community of sisters across the world.
And in today's episode, a Valentine's Day special. Is there no hope for love?
Ooh.
Dating Chronicles, long-term relationships, and finding the one.
The one.
The one.
The one.
Will you find them? Will they find you?
The many jingles of season 4. We actually need to put together a little mixtape.
Right, literally.
At the end
you know
of the
what? We need to
season.
do a whole podcast episode that's just the jingles.
Jingles, yeah.
But sisters, as it is the advent of a national holiday, some people celebrate it, some people actively ignore it, some people claim that it's Valentine's Day every day. Good on you guys.
Good on you guys.
Every
day
day is Valentine's Day to me. Well, good for you, mate. Good for you. But no, as it is the advent of a holiday that is recognized by some and ignored by others, we thought that we'd come and have a little chit chat. Something hopefully not as serious, because we know that for some folks this is a time that is quite stressful. For others, it's wonderful.
It's a time of mourning.
And it's our time to tell you, don't worry, romantic relationships are not everything.
Yes,
make
exactly.
Sure that you get loving and show
Spoiler.
love to others. Yes.
Spoiler alert. This entire episode.
So please sit back, relax, and let's get into it. But before we do that, we do have a few housekeeping announcements.
Well, we gotta clean up.
The first thing you got to clean up is your Amazon wish list, because there should only be one thing at the top of that wish list, and that's the To My Sisters book.
Come on, Miss Segue. What a clean transition.
That was a good one, wasn't
good.
it? Oh, God, she out here guessing me overnight. Oh, my God. But please make sure that the To My Sisters book is available on your Amazon wish list. It is less than a month away until that book drops. And for the US girlies, yes, we have an exclusive link for you. So please don't walk, run to the description.
Skip.
Run. Skip with haste, with a bit more gusto.
Yeah,
as it were.
we finally have the US link, which means if you are in the US of A, you can pre-order. I've seen comments, people asking, okay, but what about SA, South Africa? What about other places? We are working on getting it in other territories, us and our publishers, but you know, this industry thing.
You know what I mean?
People be doing things.
We've been applying pressure, but we also need your support to apply pressure on them. So please comment below. Make sure you're still, standing on our necks when it comes to getting those links, so we can forward all that evidence to our publishers. Hi, Mira. I hope you're watching and listening. We love you.
We love you. And happy belated birthday as well.
Absolutely. Happy another February born. What can I say? Some of the most excellent people are born in February. So
it's true.
Hey ho. But sisters, please, your support would mean the world to us. This really is a big time for us, a big time for the sisterhood. And in the spirit of loving during this season, how about you be loving and purchase a copy of the To My Sisters, a guide to building lifelong friendships.
For real.
So sisters, aside from that, I believe that's all the housekeeping that we do have for this episode.
Yes, make sure that you are following us on socials, because this week a lot of information is dropping, especially in regards to TMS experiences, our international trips. The time has come. We know you feel like it's been slow because we announced this in November, but guys, when I say we have been working, Vedette's been working, the team's been working the last 10 weeks.
Literally.
To think that live show was about 30 weeks ago. It's not even that long, but the last few weeks have just been literally gallivanting around the whole world, trying to find the best ways to experience the sisterhood in international waters. And so we have finally come with a bit of a game plan, an itinerary, details, prices, things to help you get prepared to join us either in New Orleans or Bali or somewhere else.
The surprise.
Which is why you need to be following us on social. And in South Africa in February.
Absolutely. Not a Kel surprise.
Oh, I'm telling you.
He's coming. So make sure you're following us on social media. If you are new to the sisterhood as well, welcome. We know that there's quite a few folks that are joining us for the first time. Welcome. Share that loving. Welcome to the sisterhood. We are so happy to have you. And we hope that you enjoy not just our past episodes, but all that we have to offer, because we have some really exciting things coming up. Literally this week.
Love for you to be involved.
Literally this week. But other than that, that's all the housekeeping, folks. You know, around here we like to keep it nice and clean and tidy.
Come on.
Unfortunately, though, there are other matters that are slightly messy. And for this, we must travel into the ding
dilemma.
Let's get into it. And of course, it is love related.
Aren't they always?
But particularly it's the exasperation. Like I've been here before. Hi, beautiful sisters.
Oh, hello.
Thank you for sharing your wisdom, humor, and good vibes with the world. Your content is saving lives.
Oh, man.
I saw that. I was
just
like,
be putting stuff on the internet,
you know
and
what
hoping.
I mean? You know. I am a lawyer in my late 20s doing really well in her career, if I may say so myself.
Come on.
I'm saving, investing, and generally working to glow up in every area of my life.
Love that for you.
I was in an in and out thing with a nice guy for 4 years, from 2018 to 2022. Most of it was a situationship with zero commitment from him.
That sometimes?
I had to break it off, given that his heart was so clearly not in it. He always gave excuses for his lack of commitment and refusal to be emotionally available, citing past trauma as the reason and asking me to give him time to deal with his emotional baggage and fully commit. It's been nearly 4 months and I might be dealing with... It's been nearly 4 months and I might be dealing with withdrawal symptoms and a bit of guilt regarding how I went about cutting him off.
Right, okay.
I feel like a coward whenever I remember it, and I am afraid I may have worsened whatever baggage he was already dealing with. Plus, a part of me misses his presence in my life and calling him up over the littlest thing. I worry that this whole business is actively undermining my growing and glowing journey, and I could really use specific words of wisdom and a few more hands holding me up in the light. Please help. Much love from a troubled Nigerian sis.
Oh, Niger babe.
What's good? What's it? Niger in the building. Niger in the building.
Well, sorry, my A was because I thought you had been in a situationship and he was keeping the delay going for 4 months.
Quite a serious
but
one. Although there have been sisters that have been in situationships for
10 years. What do you have to say for yourself?
Nothing really, because they ain't got that in the show, do we? No. Just a situation.
Just a promise ring.
Just, if that.
And empty promises.
You know, them there that will be putting them jelly rings on your hands, like, oh, I want to marry you.
I can never accept such a thing.
Candy.
Sweet.
Candy. Do I look like a
plastic
tuck shop? Do I look like a tuck shop to you?
They're selling even, what do you call it? Gold coated rings for like £15. You can at least try.
He said, oh, here's the candy. I
was
eating primary school.
You have to be Mr. Suave to make something like that romantic.
Can you imagine? It's like, oh, my babe's got me some Haribos. Oh, this reminds me
this of isn't you. To shame anybody though. It's just to tell you expect better. Increase your expectations.
This reminds me of you. Please
it can't remind you of me. I don't even eat sweets. I'm like on my way to being pre-diabetic. It runs in my family. Are you trying to kill me?
Oh man.
Anyway, sorry, sister.
Back to the dilemma.
As you can see, the thought of such things makes us really shudder. Okay, so I'm taking it. The dilemma is I'm having a processing issue. Clearly, she was in a situationship. She cut it off because the guy wasn't ready to be in a relationship with her. But now she's kind of having withdrawal symptoms. She misses him, and so now she's thinking, "What do I do?"
Yeah, and she's feeling guilty because she feels like she may have added to his trauma by breaking up with him.
Yeah. So I think it's worth, if you did enjoy this guy's presence and you had something, you had some form of intimacy, even if it was in the form of friendship or a possible relationship, it is worth engaging in conversation with him around the way that you feel and asking him as well, how does he feel about the whole situation? Especially if you are getting signs that maybe it did upset him the way that things ended. As much as, we can clown situationships and stuff, it is a form of even as unhealthy as they can be sometimes, it is a form of relationship. And so it is something that you will, and it's a form of romantic relationship. So it is something that we form attachments to, and therefore can actually feel feelings of grief towards. And so you're completely valid to have this amount of confusion, to be having withdrawal symptoms and stuff like that. My encouragement to you would be, and I guess the next steps that you can take going forward, is you are still able to have an open conversation with him about why you felt the need to cut off the relationship in the first place. And I think it's lovely to get to a place where you can talk to somebody and reason with them and come to a place of understanding, just so that he doesn't misinterpret or read too negatively into your decision to cut off the relationship, especially if you may have done it in a way that was a bit less transparent. I would definitely say as well that him needing time to heal is completely normal. Like he's well within his right to need that. However, I do still think that you coming to the decision that, hey, I actually don't want to wait that long, is also completely valid. So don't think that because you're going back to maybe reconcile or at least speak out your heart, that you should invalidate your reasoning for why you even cut it off in the first place. Because I do still think they are very valid reasons to want to be like, you know what, I'm actually not happy with this situation. I'm not actually happy with this dynamic of a relationship. And I don't see us moving forward because you do need that time to heal. So I'm going to kind of, take a step back. I think you were completely within your right to make that decision as well. So the two can actually coexist.
Absolutely.
And just because you were in the right, you can still feel a sense of maybe remorse, or just for yourself that you've lost something that you actually did enjoy, because you did enjoy it at some point. So I would then, depending on you did say it's been 4 months since that breakup kind of happened. It may be worth also asking him, if you're still feeling the girl, where are you kind of at in this healing journey?
Absolutely.
Would you like to start dating again? And could we see if we'd be able to explore having a relationship with each other, especially now that I know that my expectations is that, in a specific time frame, I would want to be in a committed relationship. And also you know that you've needed time to heal. You've had some time. Have you done that healing? How much time do you also think you need? Or what stage do you feel like you would have gotten to that will indicate to you that you are ready for a relationship, should that be something that you want? And so I think it's worth just engaging in just more mature, in-depth conversations about your relationship, where you actually do find out each other's expectations and desires. And it's something that I've noticed a lot amongst women, like dating these days, and just in terms of us dating and navigating that space, a lot of people are scared to ask somebody, what do you want? And what do you expect? And we don't want to put labels on things. We don't want to rush things. He's going through his things and you're just assuming what his things are, or she's going through her things and you're just assuming what her things are. But the truth of the matter is, if you don't have a verbal conversation, you're going to be in limbo for a very long time. And that's how a lot of people get stuck in a situationship for a long time.
Exactly.
And so I do think it's worth, if you do like this person and the only thing that was holding you back was, or made you, end the relationship, was because they're not ready to be in a relationship, it's worth re-engaging in a conversation about, hey, I'm feeling you, then I'm still feeling you. Hey, are you feeling me?
Yeah.
You still feeling me? Let's talk about what we can do to help each other meet our wants and needs. But also, that means you have to be open to maybe a conversation, which is actually, you did add to my trauma and you did set me back a couple of months. And I hope he is going to therapy or is in active community, or just making the necessary steps that are productive to actually heal. And he's not just saying that to string people along, if that makes sense. But assuming the best, if he is, if he has been negatively impacted by this experience with you, which would also be completely valid, then it's also worth knowing that your actions have consequence, and it may lead to having more buffer time, more dating time, rebuilding trust again. But that's all just about re-entering into a journey to rebuilding trust and hopefully arriving at a very healthy relationship where both of you are satisfied and both of you feel like you are growing and glowing together. It doesn't have to be a full place of healing, but it does have to be a place where you are trying to gain understanding of each other and go on a journey where you understand both of you are imperfect people, but you are trying to help each other satisfy your own desires. And that is what a relationship is basically all about. So I hope that was helpful on my part, but what about you?
Man, that was super comprehensive.
Oh, thank you.
comprehensive, nuanced. It was really nuanced. I really enjoyed that. But no, I completely agree with everything that you said. I think that it is very much giving yourself grace, and it made me think of, you know, when you like break a bone, and there's that initial adjustment that you might have to do in order to get it back into place, and it really hurts.
Yeah.
I think that
I've dislocated my shoulder before.
Really?
And the angst that I didn't know you back then.
Yeah,
I was like 9.
Okay,
I fell off a swing. Like my friends were just like, we were, how high can we go? How high can we? We went high. And we came down very fast.
Back down low.
Very quickly.
Not the rock bottom.
Very quickly. And I dislocated my shoulder. But with that, even that analogy, the angst is often before you actually do the shift.
Exactly.
Once you do the shift, it's mad painful. But then it's in and you're like, okay, cool.
And you can start the healing process. So the reason that I conjured up that particular metaphor is there is a clear misalignment, at least right now, between both of you and your long-term plans.
Yeah.
Therefore, obviously, in order to like put the bone back into its rightful place, or at least to go on the track for both of you that is the healthiest, there may be some discomfort in the adjustment period. So I think that sometimes, as much of it may be painful right now, thinking about this in the long term, if it's actually that both of you are incompatible right now, it could be, and it probably is, the best thing for you. Of course, there are, you know, better ways to go about a breakup. Obviously, you haven't shared the details as to how you went about that breakup, and that may also be causing guilt, which is fair enough and completely valid. And if it's something that you genuinely feel has impacted his wellness, his well-being, you could have phrased that better. It may be worth re-engaging him and having the conversation around, hey, I didn't necessarily phrase this the best way, or I didn't go about this the right way, but I want to let you know that I still have love for you. I still have respect for you. And it's just that right now, it feels like we're misaligned, and I want the best for both of us. So it may not necessarily be the act of breaking up that's the issue, but maybe it was the way that you went about it that could be contributing to your feelings of guilt and discomfort. But resting in the fact that if there is a fundamental misalignment, then the best thing for you is probably to part ways, at least for right now. And I also think that 4 months is actually a pretty short amount of time post breakup, considering you mentioned that you had been dating for 4 years now. That's a substantial amount of time. And I think
wait, she was dating him for 4 years.
2018 to 2022.
Girl! I'm telling you, I'm having a process. She was dating him for 4 years, and they weren't in a relationship because he was healing from his ex. He wanted his ex. He wanted his ex back. There is no way. No. My stance has changed. There is no way that somebody can be in a situationship with you for 4 good years and it's still telling you I'm healing.
Because I definitely saw 2018 to 2022 and I was like, oh, it's been a while. Yeah, in and out thing with a nice guy for 4 years.
He's not a nice guy. He's a villain in your story. You must remove him. This is no shade to this man. I do not know this man.
In and out. And the time frame completely changed. Yeah, no, stop it. The thing is,
I am taken aback.
Flabbergasted, if you will. The thing is, I love what you said. No, stop it, got your face. I love what you said about the fact that you need to pay attention to people's actions in the context of their words. It's a nice thing to say that you're healing, but if you're not actively I didn't even have to look at you today.
If you're not, know how long 4 years is? We were 21 4 years ago.
I know.
You hadn't even entered the workforce. Do you know how long 4 years is?
There are children that have been brought into the world since.
And are going to primary school. They have advanced.
In and out. And I think that if you are somebody that is looking for a long-term relationship, then commitment is actually very important, and it's very important early on as possible. If it's your expectation, right? Being in and out for 4 years, I just don't think that's conducive to your personal goal of wanting to be in a long-term relationship that is committed. And I think that until there is some kind of shift, some kind of change, some kind of proactive steps that he is taking to demonstrate that he is now looking for a long-term relationship, then sis, I'm not gonna lie to you, you gotta kick rocks and get going.
You dodged a bullet, baby. You made a good decision.
You gotta kick rocks and get going. And I think that 4 months versus this in and out situation of 4 years, of course you're going to be feeling the withdrawal. Of course you're going to be feeling like you miss him, because this has been your norm for the past 4 years, despite it being in and out. But look on the bright side, now that you're out, give it a little bit more time and give yourself some more space to heal and actually focus on more productive things. Like you were talking about the fact that you're a lawyer, you're out here doing this glowing and growing journey. You deserve to be with somebody that matches up to those expectations and somebody that is actually willing to commit to you as it pertains to both of your long-term visions. And I think that being with someone like this, no, skin off his nose, I'm sure he's probably a nice guy in his own capacity and whatnot, lest you have not been with him for the 4 years of in and out, right? There's definitely some redeeming qualities that he has. But again, in terms of that long-term vision, baby girl, you got to keep your eyes on the prize. And it just so happens that you two may be actually at this point in your lives 2 passing ships in the night.
Right.
Your face, the 4 years dawned on you. You were like, yeah, man. But sisters, especially those of you that have been in situationships, even some of you that may be in situationships right now, I really want you to ask yourself, is this what you want? And if that's what you want, then you're completely within your remit to do as you like. We always encourage sisters to be critical thinkers. We always encourage sisters to make...
I just remember the TikTok where this pastor was like, it was a Ghanaian pastor or something, and he was like, why would your aspiration be to be a side chick? Do you know what a chick is? A chicken. Aspire for more.
You better be the mother hen. I'm sorry. That's too funny.
That just made me remember that. Sorry, absolutely nothing to do with that situation.
That's hilarious. I mean,
when I saw it, I said, oh my days.
I mean, if you want that for yourself, it's about what you want for yourself at the end of the day. What you think is best for you. We can't come up in here and tell you, this is what we think is best for you. We can suggest. We can suggest. But we can't tell you, and we just want to make that clear just in case folks come on this. You know, folks always be coming to be like, yo,
no. If that's what you want, no. If that's what you want, if that's what you desire, if that's what you have written as your goal, go and get it, baby. Go and get it. What we do over here, though, is make you investigate whether what you want is good. And also what is at the root of your wants.
Right.
But if after these conversations you think, no, I still want that, go ahead.
Go ahead, do your thing, man. Do your thing. Personally, I don't want to be a side chick. I don't have any desire to be a side chick, but I have no desire to be in any kind of situationships. I have no desire to be in any sort of confusion in my life. Things are already confusing enough. And I think that when it comes to something like a romantic relationship where it is actually quite straightforward to have clarity. I think that many of us are shooting ourselves in the foot by allowing ourselves to go with the flow. And I know that particularly for women, we'll get into it once we've, finished this dilemma segment. But I know that for women, sometimes we don't want to come across as like desperate or pushy or whatnot. And we want to come across as attractive and pick-me's and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes when we subscribe to pick-meism, or when we subscribe to this idea or this notion that it's only the men that can dictate the terms of a relationship, of course you're going to lose. Of course you are going to lose out. Of course you're not going to have your needs met. Of course you're not going to feel as though this is a relationship. It's going to feel very transactional. It's going to feel very confused because it feels as though, there's somebody else that's piloting this ship alone. And the thing about relationship is it needs 2 pilots. But yeah, sis, like you're doing super, super well for yourself. And we're so happy for you, your glowing and growing journey. I'm hoping that you have a myriad of friends around you that can also advise you, guide you, and be with you during this process. Healing after a breakup is never easy. Heartbreak is real and it's really upsetting. And I'm sure you cherish the memories and the experiences that you've had with this fella, but at the end of the day, if it's not in alignment with your long-term vision, girl, you got to cut it off and keep it moving. And there's I'm telling you, as much of it feels like short-term vision and your experiences around you might counter this truth, but there is a whole vast world of men out there. As much as it feels like this was the only guy for you right now, and you might have tunnel vision, be encouraged that there is a man out there for you. And to all the sisters that are in a similar situation, be encouraged that there is a partner out there for you. So sending you lots of love, sending you lots of light. And also, sisters, gather around. If you have any tips, any of you that have been in situationships, any of you that can resonate, please drop it like it's hot. Let's all encourage our good sis and help her during this healing process. Wow. Sis, man. Wow. Love. Love. So before we do get into, I guess, the more nitty gritty stuff, I wanted to lighten up. I wanted this to be a little bit of a fun, a little playful conversation. And I wanted to actually start with our dating chronicles.
The sagas.
Because word on the street is the streets are actually in the pits. Yeah. And I just wanted to ask you, Courtney, have you ever had any awful, terrible dating experiences?
Yes, really. Many, I would even dare to say most.
What would you say are, give us some recollections of some of your terrible dating experiences?
Oh, well.
And what it was that made them so
terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I can divulge. If you go on my YouTube channel, I used to do bare Storytimes back in
Those
the day.
were great.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed
but
them.
then I ran out because I stopped dating for 6 years.
Yeah, glowing and growing.
So that's why the Storytimes disappeared.
So funny.
I remember, a guy that just didn't show up to a date, and didn't communicate that he wasn't going to come. I was a side chick at some point. One of my boyfriends cheated on me with my best friend.
Not this best friend, by the way.
No. Yeah, we always have to clarify that. No.
People be coming like the beehive, be like, y'all still friends, putting an emoji or something like that.
We want an episode. There's nothing to tell.
Nothing, bro.
It wasn't Renee. And I've had, then when I stopped dating, those were like my major relationships, I'd say. Then I got into a very serious committed relationship, and then it was kind of like that. It didn't fizzle out. We then went to uni, and it was this is naturally gonna kind of fade. So we decided to end that. I kind of miss that dude,
Aww.
I wouldn't be with him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be with him, but I miss him as in terms of friendship, because we were friends, and then we were childhood friends, and then we became lovers, if you will.
Tell me again the ways of be lovers and friends.
I don't know.
Usher?
Okay.
It's Lil Jon.
Okay. I hope he's
sisters,
well.
Please.
I hope he's grown
Lil Jon,
and he's no longer little.
This is the problem, though. Most of these rappers be Lil something.
At 50. And then I got into a serious relationship with a guy, the person I lost my virginity to. Oh, it was tough. Oh. And it was a good relationship. Came to a very quick end. I really thought I was in love too. That was my a heartbreak, and I think maybe my second heartbreak in life. That was a heartbreak. And then 6 years. Sorry, the last 6 years I've been.
So what was it that
we
made
anticipate
these
marriage?
experiences
Poor. One, lack of community. I was young. So obviously I'm 25 now. So you can imagine that all the relationships I've described prior to this 6-7 years has been teenage relationships up until my last one when I was 19. Well, 18 still actually. Yeah. So I would say that it's interesting having had a lot of relationships in my teen years, but still thinking very mature and engaging in relationships in a mature way, even whilst being an immature person. Do you get what I mean? So in the sense that I hadn't figured out what I wanted out of relationships. Right. Cognitively, I'm still developing. Yeah. I'm very much navigating within relationships as teenagers do, which is based off of society, based off of culture, based off what you see, based off TV, based on social media. And so because most of my expectations were built based on that source of information, I wasn't necessarily having the highest of expectations. And then I was engaging in relationships with people who were as immature, if not more immature than I was, right? And I was a mature teenager in terms of my way of thinking towards certain things. And so I think what made a lot of these relationships the ghetto was a lack of boundaries, a lack of communication, a lack of respect, a lack of, I'd say, expressed expectations, a lack of identified expectations in the first place, as well as just a lack of self-respect and shame on their part. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Wow.
And then just a whole bunch of silliness, like, you know, people thinking they can talk to you however they want, or people, you know, just being rude, or I mean, dating app chronicles is a whole different category, because the entitlement,
jeez Louise, it's quite a
serious entitlement.
It's a serious thing. It's a serious thing.
And that's where, I mean, my dating experience, before I throw it back to you, has made me realize that relationships, if they are going to work, they are for the mature. If they are to be healthy, it requires two mature people.
110%.
And the maturity isn't necessarily in the stage of your healing or healing journey. Because I think a lot of people are obsessed with this idea of, you need to heal before you get into a relationship if you want your relationship to be functional. Actually, no, there's even a level of maturity that quote unquote unhealed people have reached, which is they have accepted that they are both works in progress. And they have dedicated themselves to do the journey together despite their shortcomings. That's maturity. And at any stage of your growing and growing journey, you can actually dedicate yourself to that pursuit. Yeah. And that level of maturity helps relationships to actually continue. Think about how many people who are like, okay, struggle love, right? As much as we criticize it, the reason why people make it in struggle love, or they keep bonded, is because they've decided to commit to each other despite their shortcomings. Well, oftentimes one person's shortcomings. And that level of endurance, whilst in that instance it's quite foolish because it's being misapplied or it's being abused, it's something that I think a lot of people lack. But also, I think there is a selflessness that can be learnt from there, even though in that instance it's toxic because it's on the far extreme end of selflessness. I think there is an element of selflessness in that instance, which a lot of people who even consider themselves to be mature actually lack when they are engaging in relationships.
Yeah.
So we can delve more into that another day. But what about you? Dating escapades? Walk us through.
Child, we've been through a lot. Well, not a lot, but like just avoidable silliness. Yeah. I think that sometimes frustrates me. And as much as I think that I've tried to keep it, you know, nipped in the bud on the straight and narrow and stuff, sometimes I look back at young Renee and I'm just like, you didn't have to do all of that. You didn't have to entertain that. Although some were entertaining, I think make for great stories, but others I was just no. And I think
the AdSense money I got from them Storytimes, a great benefit.
110% fantastic, excellent. If you see any of my Storytimes coming out, just click. But I think similarly to you, I think that particularly when I was dating whilst I was a little bit younger, so the 18s, the 19s, I feel like you just like allow more things to run, which 100. Is just embarrassing, like 100%. Genuinely embarrassing.
Hindsight is a powerful
Hindsight is a very, very powerful thing. And just things like lack of commitment and unexpressed expectations. And then also just experimentation that just always goes a bit strange or a bit awry. And no disrespect to my American sisters and my American brothers, but you guys are a different kettle of fish as well, boy. Different because breed. Some of the folks I dated whilst I was there, I was just like, is everything okay? Like, I don't know if I've ever told you this story. Yeah, I felt like some sort of like, I don't know, caught between two unnecessary star-crossed lovers. But there was this one guy who I was like, oh, I think you're kind of cool. I think I met him like at an event or something, and he seemed kind of cool, so we exchanged numbers. Nothing like super serious. For all intents and purposes, I've known you a day, and he did the entire love bombing thing where he'll be sending me like messages. I've just met you a day, by the way. I thought you're cool. You took my number. Right. He's like, oh, you're so beautiful. Okay. I think I could see us doing X, Y, Z. No. I was just like, my good sir, it's been 24 hours. No. And then I went to an event maybe like a day later, and I didn't realize that he was there. Yeah. But I was out with my friends, and this guy came up to me and we were speaking. Tell me why this guy comes up to the other guy and he's like, I'm going to punch your face. I was like, I feel like I'm in the Real Housewives. Like,
Why are they gonna? What's he gonna punch?
like, why are you talking to my girl?
Hey, gentleman. Hey. Nah, you needed to just walk away.
Huh? I was just literally, I looked at my friends, they looked at me, they're like, you know this guy? I met this guy yesterday.
Renee the Madam
Glucose. Me back then, I was so useless. I was just like, this has never happened to me before. I was like, so why are you talking to my girl? Don't you know that? Da-da-da-da-da. I was just like, sir? He's like, yeah, you up right here, right? And I think it's crazy already in the American scene, but that's something that you would never see happen in the United Kingdom.
You would just go home and open Twitter and he would have wrote,
huh?
You can have her then.
That was crazy. No, that was definitely one of my like, oh wow, am I a hot girl or something?
You
like
are
that? It's crazy.
the hottest.
I remember going on.
Funny.
Oh man, dating chronicles are too funny. I remember going out on a date with a guy who was a soldier.
Wow.
But he had a whole life. Like he had a wife and kids. There's some escapades, boy. And even on the dating app Chronicles, I will never forget this guy called Hoyt.
Don't you put in his name
It wasn't his real name.
Avoid
it wasn't
him.
even his real name, but if you see a Hoyt, Hoyt, avoid him. And literally, I thought it was a meme that he had posted, but it wasn't a meme. It was him holding a gun to the camera, and he's like, "I'm gonna treat you right." And I was
No,
thank
you.
I was like, "Sir, I'm not sure that this is."
No, thank you. I don't want to.
But that was like the dating chronicles, and definitely the entitlement. There's a couple of guys that I've gone on dates with where I've personally felt uncomfortable because there's this implicit agreement that if you take me out on a date and you pay, now I have to give up the goods, and it's like, unfortunately, my good sir, that's absolutely not how things work over here, and that's not my belief system, and that's something that I say straight up nowadays. But in terms of actual like relationships, I think I haven't had that many relationships. Yeah. But the ones that I've had, we've had some good times. Yeah. But then at the same time, I'm kind of like, if I had the wisdom that I have now, and I had the confidence and the capacity to express myself that I have now, we wouldn't have been together. At all. We wouldn't have been together. So I think even for the younger sisters that are listening, and even on behalf of some of the older sisters, because you guys always have so much wisdom and you come with so much wisdom, but there is prudence in being picky, and there's prudence in actually waiting until you feel comfortable with yourself and comfortable enough to articulate your desires before hopping into a relationship with someone. I think also I didn't realize just how big of a commitment a relationship can be, and as much as for some folks the whole casual dating and the casual relationships works for them, for me I don't like that. I don't function best like that. I know that I'm a very intentional person. I know that I actually want to be in a long-term relationship that ends in marriage. I know that these are things that I want for myself, and if anything, I wouldn't say it's necessarily regrets, but more so growing. It's actually worth waiting.
100%.
It's actually worth waiting.
100%. So. Like, I was literally thinking this, and we were discussing this briefly before we started recording, that like, I think for me, the issue was I didn't know what I wanted. I thought I knew what I wanted, but what I wanted was informed by so many things that I didn't necessarily understand. Right. And I think that it takes a level of, I wouldn't even say maturity in terms of age, like what age stage you are, but maturity in terms of, have you sat with yourself and deeply thought and come to a place of true understanding about what you desire. Absolutely. And also your conceptualization of what a relationship or what sex or what intimacy or what a boyfriend actually is. I think we throw these things around, but every as we've conceived from, like, somebody says they're in a relationship but really they've been in a 10-year situationship. Somebody says that they've got this thing on the side, but the thing on the side thinks that they're married. So we can throw around all of these words, but really it comes down to semantics. But also it comes down to you writing down personal definitions about what this means. Absolutely. And what you desire from it. And I think when you are younger, it can be harder to know what you actually want because you just haven't known a lot about life yet. You may have known about your life, what you've been exposed to, but until you really engage in healthy community, have really explored your beliefs, your ethos, your philosophies, the way you live your life, and the life that you desire to live, you won't really know what you want, because all of those things shape your desires and they shape what you pursue and what you put your energy towards and what you allow to have your energy. And so I find that, like, even in saying that I regret losing my virginity, right? It's not necessarily because, oh, like, I'm this Christian now and, you know, I knew I should be, you know, celibate or whatever. No, actually, I find, well, I lost my virginity when I became Christian shortly after. So it's all messy at the beginning, isn't it? So, but I was encouraged by that fact, because it wasn't religion that kept me from doing things in my heart which I deeply wanted to do. Yeah. And it allowed me to come to terms with, okay, why would I pursue abstinence, or why would I pursue celibacy? And I think allowing yourself to ask yourself a question or discover what you want is one of the highest forms of liberation. Yeah. Because oftentimes we are told what we should or should not, the things we should or should not want are dictated to us. We are told them, they are passed down to us through religion and all of those things. But I think you cannot experience true faith until God's desires, or whatever, you know, you're adhering to, become your desires. Absolutely. And so if your desires aren't grappled with, how do you merge the two? How do you you need to contend with the two? Okay, if God's desires are meant to be my desires, what are my desires, and are these two even compatible? And then you deal with the contention, or you ask the hard questions, or you go to people and you're like, actually, sexual liberation looks like this to me. And so for me, going on a journey of asking myself, what does sexual liberation look like, and what does me owning and having agency around my sexuality and my intimacy look like, it meant I was asking questions to myself and to other people, and even going to the Bible to search for answers or find critiques around my relationship with pornography, my relationship with my body and my intimate parts, and how I viewed myself as a woman, how I viewed my modesty, but even more importantly, how I let other people treat me, how I let other people have access to me, how I allowed people to teach me about relationships as well, because I have been very vocal about my criticism towards the way society, culture, and even religion has coached women to have low or no expectations towards relationships. And I think it's important for us as people to have expectations and to know where those expectations are rooted, which is why we always need to talk about, like, having unrealistic, or I wouldn't even say unrealistic is the word, but just sometimes outrageous expectations for our partners, but also low expectations for ourselves. And also the fact that some of us don't even feel like we should be entitled to have expectations. Absolutely. And the truth of the matter is, you should have expectations for yourself, for your life, and for your partner. And I think one of the greatest things that grieves me about younger Courtney, but also about women in the world today, no matter what age, as you mentioned, is they don't feel like they have enough. They can have expectations. Society is shaming us for having expectations in some way, or we feel as though we are acting entitled or above ourselves if we are to have expectations, especially positive ones. But also, it allows us to kind of, how do I want to say this? Oh, do I want to say this at all?
You gotta say what you want to say. That's on your chest.
But also, I think there is a way that we are being taught to operate, which teaches us to place expectations on the wrong things. Right. In the sense that, like, oh, if a man is to love me, or if a person is to love me, they must show up for me in this specific way. Yeah. And I think that's even as detrimental as having no expectations.
Worse. Really and truly, as much as we talk about communication being this simple thing and that we should work on our communication and all that kind of stuff, it is one of the most fundamental things that I am constantly learning as I've grown older, and one of the things that I really hold true and dear to me, because even in that, right, communication, first of all, understanding where are my desires rooted in? What do I actually want? And are these desires my desires, right? And I think that obviously social media and folks that have been able to grow mass followings through monopolizing what they think is female desires, right? As much of these things have been entertaining, they have definitely crept into the psyche of both men and women. Facts. and has really detrimentally affected the dating market,
Facts.
have detrimentally affected the way that we engage with each other, even in community. And this is not to say that women shouldn't have expectations. It feels like we're constantly veering between the extremes, where it's like you either have no expectations in order to shield yourself from harm or hurt, or to allow yourself to kind of go with the flow when you know that's not what your heart wants. Or you go to the extremes and say, if this man or whoever is to love me, they need to show up for me in these very, very specific ways. Very, very like minute ways, but also have extreme implications for their capacity to show up for you. So I know we often use the example of the 6-figure man or the 7-figure man. And just don't get me wrong, financial stability is important, but I think there's a difference between desiring financial stability and dreaming to have somebody. There's a difference between financial stability and wanting to be somebody's sugar baby.
Go listen to the Sugar Baby episode.
And this is not to say, look, again, we have our thoughts and our opinions, and we're not here to say what's right and what's wrong, but it's more about encouraging you to be very clear on your desires and understanding where those desires are coming from and how that will impact your capacity to engage with the dating market. So understanding that if you do desire, say, the 6-figure man, understanding, okay, that is actually a small proportion of men in your current dating pool, and being okay with that. But then equally not allowing yourself to minimize yourself if you are a woman of high caliber. There's so many women out here, even this is from The Dilemma, very educated women. There are women out here that are buying their houses, that are doing their own stuff, starting their own businesses, that have really great jobs, that are just really excellent people. And I think that even though there is, you know, the extremities in some feminine communities to desire men that are extremely materialistic and very much the top whatever percentage in that particular, in those specific areas, there is something to be said around the fact that as a woman that has been actively working on yourself, and as a woman that is desiring specific things from a relationship, it's actually okay to do that, especially if you have been going on the process of bettering yourself. I think, I don't know, if it sometimes feels so unfortunate, or it's unfortunate to see when I go online or have conversations with people that are like, I have no hope in the dating market because I feel like I'm constantly lowering my standards and people are just like disappointing and whatnot. And there is an element of self-awareness that's important in understanding how you do come across in the dating market. However, I'm just so sick and tired of the message of, oh, women, your standards are too high.
Let me tell
women,
you
need
something.
to get this together, rarity and all that kind of stuff.
Let me tell you something. Shut your mouth. Shut up.
Close it up.
I love that.
I really think that's contributing to such extreme polarization right now, where it's, you have a whole bunch of men that are triggered, upset, really angry, especially folks that may not be, you know, part of that 1% or whatnot, who are very, very triggered by the fact that there's a whole bunch of women that are really elevating in a number of areas that may be inaccessible to them, or maybe they're just misjudged, or maybe they don't have the same capacity for. Like, I often hear the whole example of the educated woman being undesirable or masculine, the woman that's got her own. And this is the thing, right? This is the thing. This whole idea that women working on themselves and expressing their expectations is indicative of their lack of femininity is so frustrating.
You even brought up another thing that really irritates my entire spirit, soul, and being. Since when did having no expectations or low expectations become synonymous with being feminine?
Hit us with it, CDB.
You know what it is, and you know, I'm actually going to speak about it from my perspective. Right. So if you relate to it, fantastic. Maybe this will give you language. If you don't relate to it, it's okay. Maybe this is the segment for you. And if you are a man, I am not, so I don't know. Number one, what I find interesting is when people are like, oh, you know, why do you have these expectations? I think the first thing I wanted to touch on actually is when you were talking about the whole, like, wanting a guy with 6 figures and all of that. I think there is no issue with whatever you desire from your partner. I think the question is, why do you desire it? And the reason why that's the question is it because you think it's a status symbol? Is it because people are telling you that that's what you should want? Or is it actually practical and compatible for your future? Right? So my thing is this. A woman often will have expectations, or a man will have expectations for their partner because they have cast a vision for their future. And their understanding is, me choosing to partner with you in a legal, sexual, spiritual, if you want to tease it that way, all of the alls relationship is because I see you partnering with me for my future.
Right.
And I see you assisting my future. And because I have a vision, I now have expectations. Firstly, I have expectations for myself. How many episodes did we do in season 3 talking about it's the year of vision? Set a vision, and now you have to have standards for yourself. Now you need to form habits. Now you need to learn how to heal. Now you need to start making the steps towards healing. This is how you deal with your finances. This is how you repair your relationships with your family. We set expectations for ourselves that at some point, because I have written down this vision, I need to change. And I need to change in alignment with what I have written down and with what I have cast for my future, right? So if a woman has done that and she's become a woman of vision, a woman who has become diligent in pursuing that, why would she partner herself with somebody who jeopardizes that?
Like we said, if you would like to comment below and share your thoughts and opinions on such, we would very much welcome it, because I think it would shed light on such.
And a man wouldn't jeopardize that either. I think when men never navigate the dating scene, especially if they are intending pursuing something like marriage or, you know, finding a mother for their children, they literally see it like that. Who am I going to allow to carry my future?
Absolutely.
And it's the same with women. Who am I going to allow to carry me into my future?
But you know what's interesting about that, though, is that most people think that women shouldn't have that perspective, in that the whole proactivity of
and then they will turn around and blame them. And blame them when exactly you picked the wrong person. And so really and truly decide what you want us to do. And I'm sick of an internet culture that is throwing women and people, especially young people, into a state of confusion around something which, albeit not easy, is actually quite simple. It just requires you to be willing to step up. And it comes back to what I was saying about maturity. But I think because so many people want the clicks, they want the viral moment, they are making something which is simple so complicated, and it's making people confused about who they are, what their femininity is, what their masculinity is.
Right.
There is no need to be confused. And it really does frustrate me, because I see so many young women. How are you 19, 20, 21, 25, whatever, and you're already settling, you're already giving up because you are confused about how it is you can navigate such a treacherous or such a wasteland and a dark space that is dating, when actually that should not even be your perspective, right? It's like when we come on here, I remember I did a video on my channel talking about women who, you know, are talking about feminine energy and all of that. Oh, sometimes the comments just make me scared, Renee. Afford.
DT.
I said, okay, how come you've got all of this feminine energy but you don't have female friends, right? Feminine energy is not just reserved to attract the masculine. It is also there to help nurture your relationships in general, which include relationships and sisterhood. People in my comments, a lot of people loved it, but some people in my comments, I don't associate femininity with sisterhood because women are this. Why should a woman have to pursue being in community? Why sisterhood isn't even all that? Friendship isn't even all that. That's tried to be friends with it. One, this ain't for you. And number two, why is a simple concept of saying have friends throwing you off?
You don't got no friends.
No, because you don't have common sense. You are confused. No. I'm going to call it what it is. You are confused about some of the basic principles of life. And the reason why you're confused probably isn't even your fault. It's because you've grown up listening to a broken culture that is the internet, or that is maybe somebody who hadn't dealt with or contended with their own heartbreak towards friendship or towards something or towards relationships or towards people or towards a specific community. community, and you've internalized that pain, and it is now told you that you don't need to engage in all forms of community in order to glow and grow as a person. But the truth of the matter is, you need people, and also people can be good people. I'm sick of people being so inflated in ego in thinking that they are the only good person navigating the world. You are not. There are also people who, albeit they are not perfect, they are trying, and they are worth engaging in relationship with, whether that be romantic or platonic. But I think we have thrown ourselves, or been thrown into a state of confusion surrounding relationships, so much so that we don't even know what we are doing, and yet we still want to reap the benefits of it and engage in the activities that people in relationships should be engaging in. If I'm not in intimacy with you, I'm not in the safety.
That is above your pay grade.
It's you're not getting access denied. Access actually denied.
That is above. That's why we be looking for the 6-figure guys, because we need somebody in our pay grade to access that.
Access is actually denied, and I think because we still want to experience the niceties, we are cosplaying what relationships actually are.
And on that point, this might sound very controversial, because I saw somebody state something like this on the internet recently, and people came for her. I'm glad you brought up the whole splitting bills and financial responsibilities, and just the general responsibilities that can come from engaging with someone in a relationship. If you are in a situationship, I would implore you to think twice, or think again, if you would want to intertwine your life with them, whether it be buying a house.
Let me tell you something. Go on, no, do your list, sorry, do your list, because I know you're going to come with fire, but I need to say something. So you say what you're going to say, I'm going to remember what I had to say, and I'm saying, so go on.
Whether it be splitting those bills, owning a house together, actual financial, what could be assets as well as liabilities, you need to make sure that when you are in communion with somebody, when you are engaging with them in any capacity, that there is explicit agreements as to how you will handle things. And this is why it is very important for women to have expectations and to express them, so that there is clarity and that they are not hoodwinked in the process. Because time and time again, in our own experiences, in the people that we may have around us, the stories that we have heard from other women where they've had the wool pulled over their eyes because they were hoodwinked, if you will, because they had unexpressed expectations, and they allowed, and this is not to deny anybody the capacity to give men leadership or whatnot in their home and whatnot, 100. But this has to operate in the parameters of mutual expressed expectations. You cannot lead until that power has been given to you by your followers.
And let me tell you something.
Think about the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister cannot operate until he's voted in.
But you know what's so beautiful about that? This isn't even just about vocalized expectations. This is about legalized expectations. Yeah. More than just saying it, to be put it in writing and sign the dotted line. And the reason why I say this is because in asking ourselves in 2023, are relationships hopeful or even beneficial for women?
Right.
There's something that comes to mind which has always stuck with me.
Come on now.
Which is, you are single, alone until you are married. Married specifically. And the reason why I say that is because marriage, as much as people use this as a criticism, is a legal bond. And the reason why that is beautiful is it means that now we're building not only with expectations that we have vocalized, expectations we are bound to.
Right.
And that means something. That means something.
And I remember. Sorry, I'm so sorry to cut in, but you know what that actually reminds me of? Like all of those like divorce proceedings and whatnot. And it's always the men that have like the least amount of gold that be like, I don't really want to get married because if we divorce, then half of my things goes to this lady. Absolutely.
You know what you're putting on the line.
Absolutely.
There's a video that I saw, a TikTok I saw from Candice Braithwaite, where she was talking about how like her and her partner, they had been together for a while. They didn't have to get married. They felt very secure in the fact that they had, an amazing relationship. And I think that's absolutely beautiful. But she said they got married because there are just some things, especially when it comes to finance, when it comes to asset, when it comes to the future which you desire, which just don't work, and she's not entitled to if she is not legally his wife. Absolutely. And so I feel like with a lot of this conversation, when it comes to protecting our future, planning for our future, and also giving ourselves not even security, but actual peace of mind and stake in relationships, more so for women than for men. Sometimes the legal element is necessary should you believe in it. And I know not in every culture there are different ways that marriage take form, but I think it's so beautiful to see that in most cultures there is a custom, whether it be legal at the court or in somebody's living room, where it says by witness you have bound yourself to this. And this means that there's expectations your community lay on you, there's expectations your partner has of you, there are expectations your children have of you, because you not only bear this title but your name is on that deed. And I think it's important for us to remember that. And that's why when you said buying a house with somebody and you're in a relationship, why are you building a future with somebody who has only expressed with words? Who was there to hear it? Where are the papers to show it? And so many women have been hoodwinked and bamboozled by that. And so many of us cannot fall into the deception of thinking, allowing ourselves to build futures in situationships and build futures in unstable relationships, or even just intimate relationships, which are not, dare I say, bound by law or bound by custom, is going to be helpful for us, because we are often on the losing side.
Right. And think about it, even when we think of, legal proceedings and structures of society, this is where patriarchy will win if you don't protect yourself legally.
Facts. Because the law is patriarchal in nature. Sorry, I just wanted to put that out there. The law is patriarchal in nature. Like, please don't do this to no. Because for me, like, remembering that you are single until you are married, it reminds me that you are building your future. And the only way to really secure it, if you choose to build it with somebody else, is to do it in this specific way. Think about us. I love you. I trust you. But when it came to building a community and founding a business together, we said, okay, let's enter into a partnership.
Right.
This partnership can not only be in name alone. It cannot only be because we show up on camera together. It cannot only be because you are my best friend and I love you. Put it on paper.
Right.
Tell Companies House what we are doing, because if anything is to fall apart, you've got your shares and I've got mine. And we've both got stakes in this legally. There's a reason why even with the people you love most, there must be a legal stake. You don't even need it with your parents, but if you go to your courthouse and you say, legally, I am this person's child. Legally, I am their child.
Even then, you might have to, if you're interested in divorcing your parents, you have to go through a process.
A whole process. There's a reason, but there's security that these things offer us. And I think I just wanted to highlight that in a world which is constantly trying to kind of degrade the importance of marriage, I think women are probably going to be on the losing side of
absolutely.
that.
They always are.
So we just have to be careful.
They always are.
So all this, don't expect to be married, be in a 10-year relationship, do Lord of the Rings, accept a promise ring, take a Haribo, and accept that as commitment, you're going to end up being on the losing side if you are not careful. And this is not me wishing bad on anyone's relationship, but this is for me to say, even the people we love most, things don't always work out with them.
110%. Absolutely put beautifully.
I'm done talking now. Sorry.
No, Courtney, that was great, man, because the girlies needed to hear it. Taking a step,
sad.
Even with that, right? Taking it a step back, because I know that marriage is not for everybody. It's not for everyone, and that's perfectly within your right.
100.
But the whole point is expressing your expectations and staking your claim, especially when you are navigating relationships. So there is no need to be in a state of confusion. You are willfully putting yourself in a state of confusion, hoping that the clarity will be brought about or born out of the other person. That's not the way that relationships work.
It's not how life works.
That's not the way that life works, right? So if it is that you are intending to, purchase a house with your partner, are you aware of the terms and conditions? Are you aware of who owns what? What happens if you break up? You need to be thinking about these things practically, the practical elements of being with someone. It's not just a hunky-dory, go with the flow, all of that kind of stuff. If that is your desire. And if you are somebody that's thinking about having a long-term relationship beyond the whole lovey-dovey stuff and intimacy and it makes me feel good, there are real life implications of tying and intertwining your life with somebody else that you need to be thinking about. It may not be marriage for you, but it may be something else. Living together, for example. You need to figure out how you're going to split bills and all that kind of stuff. I am constantly so frustrated when I come across these stories of people being hoodwinked because they're not checking on the bills, or they're not seeing that the house that both of them are living in is about to be put up by the bailiffs, foreclosed, something like that. being aware, and this is not to say that you should be suspicious of your partner. This is us saying, if you desire being in communion with someone, if you desire being in relationship with someone, relationship requires transparency and it requires expressed expectations. Don't shy away from having expectations, especially the ones that are a little bit less romantic in the romantic setting. It's important that you set yourself up. Don't go with the flow, or else you will find yourself in and out of the flow for the next 10 years.
Sink. Go with the flow. You'll find yourself in the deep end and you will sink.
And then it's like at the end, once you realize, okay, maybe this didn't work out, what do you have to show for it? What's happened?
Dumb comments on YouTube videos.
You get angry, you
and
get
pain,
bitter.
and also just loss and grief. And this isn't us shaming or clowning anybody. It's actually to say behind even the horrible comments on the internet
100%.
is a lot of pain.
100%.
And you are left with pain, and we don't want that for anybody. We don't want you to experience the grief and the disappointment and the things that not only can become generational, but you just don't want to go through in life because they are traumatic.
Absolutely.
Just please, if you can, protect yourself and like get clued up as well, especially if you are looking to pursue serious relationships. But also don't be afraid to have those expectations which still allow you to build towards the future that you actually want. Just because you desire a relationship doesn't mean you need to forfeit your desire for a good future. The two go hand in hand.
If anything, the relationships in your life are meant to add to your vision. Like obviously we're talking about it in the romantic sense, but picture the relationship between me and Courtney. Our relationship has absolutely been so beneficial for our long-term visions. That's what your relationship should do. They should be an investment into the future you. And if you have any relationships, whether it be platonic, and this is not me saying divorce your parents, but you might have to look at that one because some of them don't be invested in our futures and whatnot. But particularly with romantic relationships and platonic friendships, where you get to choose the people that you enter into communion with, are they the best sort of investment for you at this time? And not just at this time, will they depreciate in value or will they appreciate? Will they become a liability? Will they become a liability or will they become an asset to you? And again, this is not to say that relationships should always be transactional. But again, I think we think in extremes. It doesn't need to be transactional, but then it's not just about the hunky-dory, lovey-dovey intimacy.
It does need to be beneficial.
It needs to be beneficial. And as tricky as it is to find somebody that can do that, or to find a relationship that encompasses those things, at least being picky enough and intentional enough to say, you know what, these are the things that I desire in a relationship. This is what I'm willing to commit to. I'm going to take my time with this process and understand that if I want this thing at the end of the day, it means that today I have to make some concessions. It means that today I need to be a bit more intentional in the dating market. It means that today I need to close the YouTube app. Maybe I need to remove myself from Instagram and Twitter. Maybe I need to stop watching all of these or listening to these podcasts that maybe do you know what I mean? Maybe it looks like me investing in my friendships as well, so that I actually have access to the kind of networks that will actually allow me to meet the kinds of people that I want to meet romantically. Maybe it looks like making those sacrifices today so I can build a better future with the right kind of person. Because I'm telling you, no matter how many right nows, Mr. Right Nows you can stack up, they would never be Mr. Right. And all of those right nows will eventually be a big wrong at the end of the tunnel. So please, sisters,
Happy Valentine's
Day.
I was about to say
happy Valentine's Day. If you're celebrating with your loved ones, God bless you. Have fun, roses. Have your million roses and whatnot. See them people that have all the roses on the floor and
how isn't that a bit of a waste? Like, or I mean, who cleans it? It's just logistically, but it's nice.
It's a nice gesture, but it's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah,
if you're getting, the prosecco on the bed and the what do you call
nice
it?
Stuff.
Happy Valentine's or happy anniversary, whatever it is you're celebrating.
But if you are single, please love yourself, enjoy yourself. February 14th is not just for those in relationships; it's to celebrate all forms of love as well. Go and buy yourself some nice flowers.
Get something for your sisters.
Take yourself out. look good. Don't be sat there in misery. Get yourself outside,
love stories, all that
or
kind
make
of
yourself
stuff.
something nice. Enjoy.
Also, don't be on the internet.
time.
Don't be a hater. If you see
Yeah, that's
couples that
another
are
thing
doing
as
up,
well,
love
it's
up,
true.
love up, just mind your business.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
comment in happy ways.
You
But
don't
if
even
you're
have
a
to
hater,
like. Just turn off your phone.
I'm screaming.
You acting
There
like
are
you're in
people there
bondage
that
to have to
do
engage.
you know what I mean?
Don't.
Where every week they've got something.
Just
Me
scroll
and my
past.
bills. You and your bill yet again. Oh my god! And as for you people that say it's Valentine's Day every day, like
No, it's February 14th.
I don't even want to see you guys.
It's like saying it's Christmas every day because Jesus is alive.
It's
It's
like,
okay.
oh, they make me feel like it's my birthday every day. Look here.
But it's not.
Look here.
Stop trying to be
it's not.
romantic
You know what
and
I
just
mean? It's
shut
like,
up.
oh, I get her 50 million roses every day. No, you don't.
No, but the thing is, they usually say it so they can get out of doing stuff on
Exactly.
February 14th.
because February
Toby Hood
15th.
There's a girl on TikTok
Yeah.
that made a video that was like, she doesn't want roses on Valentine's Day.
Who told
I've
you?
been loving seeing all the videos of
Who
people
told
like,
you
hey,
that?
hey, shut up.
You stop that.
Shut that
You mind
rubbish
your
up. So
business.
if you are one of our brothers listening, do something nice for a woman that you love.
Look, if you are a
please.
brother,
Let's put you on some game.
Let's put you on some game. Go and get something nice for that girl you like. Yeah, that pretty lady. You know, you had your eye on her. If you haven't cuffed her up already.
Firstly, actually ask her to be your Valentine because I'm sick of people
Yeah.
assuming. No, ask her. She wants to
You
be
know them ones,
asked.
oh, you want to do a thing? That's where the Haribo ring comes from. That's
Exactly.
the
That's
Haribo
the
ring community.
caliber.
Oh, do you want to like, you know, the
No words, just vibes.
you want to just do a thing? What does that mean?
Ask.
Those are the people
Ask.
that say,
That's
"Oh,
step
every
one.
day is Valentine's
It's
Day." because you're doing
exactly.
a thing.
You're doing nothing.
Anyways,
So
yeah,
number
brothers,
one,
ask her,
Yeah.
and also try and tailor it a little bit if you're asking the
Yeah.
babe. You know, some girls like roses,
Yeah.
some girls like tulips.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you know her well enough, it's always nice to have
Yeah.
a nice little touch. You know
A
what I'm
little
saying?
something. Her favorite chocolate. Take her to a nice place.
know what I
Doesn't have to
mean?
be expensive. That's another encouragement for you. Don't have to break the bank. I know you're going to be
Absolutely.
seeing a lot of, Louis Vuitton logo, Gucci this week. It's all right. If
Some
you
of
ain't
them
got it,
bags are
don't
cute,
break.
but that's none of my business.
100%. Don't break
You
your
know.
back. Do something that is from your heart.
Absolutely.
It will speak 1,000 words. Write her a nice card. Whatever.
Write her a nice card because I don't know the brothers. Some of y'all struggle to write your feelings and whatnot. Just a little something. Oh, babes, I like the sparkle in your eye, or like I like it when you laugh.
100%.
Just something.
This is how I feel about
You know what I'm
you.
saying? Something that she can keep. You know, all the
Yeah.
things that you think are quote unquote moist or cringe or stuff like that.
And
A
then
lot of
make a
ladies like
memory.
it.
Make a good memory that she won't forget, and you'll be all right.
Aw.
And then move on from there.
Not us giving the Valentine's game.
Yeah, someone has to help them.
I know somebody has to enjoy.
Someone has to, because we want the sisters to enjoy, so
There
you
we
kind of
go.
have to help the
There
brothers.
we go.
by
And also
virtue.
sisters, like Valentine's Day is not just
Oh.
he's spoiling
Oh,
me.
please, sex is not a gift.
oh.
I just wanted to put that out there. Sex is not a gift.
Somebody-
we get it. You're buying them. You
I was
pants.
about to say this. I was about to say, as we're speaking, somebody's putting lingerie.
Savage
lingerie.
fancy. The car is
Lingerie.
full. Okay, give Rihanna your money, but also maybe buy a card as well.
Somebody is putting bow tie and lingerie inside their baskets as we're speaking. I've seen you and it's red.
No, I'm seeing you.
It's red and black. Look at you, honey devil. God.
You need to be banned.
Oh my god.
You're so ass. How can you say I need to?
No, because why is it always red and black? It's always red and black.
Looking
Same
like you're
thing.
in mourning. If you don't go and buy a car from Car Factory,
Everybody, oh babes, we're going to do handcuffs today. Go and pick
be
up
fair
a car.
though, some people
You know,
they've
I
been
hear
waiting
it.
for February 14th to do
Screaming
the
to
kinky
do
stuff.
some- Yeah, some, spanking.
But make it good, make it memorable.
Make it good, but also buy something as well.
Yeah, something
you
nice. Let him
imagine?
remember that he was also romanced.
There you go. There you go. I would love to hear the brothers,
What do you want for Val's
What do
Day? Please. No, because I think a lot of women also struggle
They
to
do,
know
yeah,
what,
for sure, for sure,
yeah,
for sure.
because it's such a
for sure.
woman focused.
But you know what I would say for that, like for the guys, if you like really try and get to know them well before Valentine's Day, obviously we're pressed for time now.
Yeah.
But the sorts
No,
of
I've
things
come and
that
see
they
the girls
press for
asking a
time.
million questions. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite film?
Like, do you know what I mean?
Did you have a favorite Avenger?
Oh, what
What's
do you
the
write? What do you listen to? What's your trouser size? 42 inch. Oh, do you like tracksuits? Nike tracksuits, yeah, Nike tracksuits. Find
Do
out. You can even talk
nice.
to, if
His
you're,
friends.
his friends might be a good.
Just browse his Insta or something. Yeah.
There you go. Oh, we are sending you so much love, guys.
100.
We want to see lots of love, healthy, functional love,
secure,
legally bound love. We want to see it legally bound, okay? Legally in writing, if you will. We encourage legal writing. But sisters, we're wishing you a very, very happy Valentine's Day. We are sending lots and lots of love, both in the romantic sense, but also the platonic sense. So hoping that you have a fabulous day with your loved ones. And you know how you can support some of your online loved ones? By following us on all social media platforms. Have you ever wondered how can I show love to the To My Sisters community during this time of love? That is by going on our social media at To My Sisterhood on all platforms.
All of them.
The TikToks, the Twitters, the LinkedIn, the Instagram. We are everywhere,
Literally.
honey. So come and show us some love by following us, especially if you're new around here and want to be plugged in to anything and everything that we have in store. And of course, please, please, please show some love to my incomparable, phenomenal, fantastic, the one, the only at CD Boateng to the left of me. And of course, come and show me a little bit of loving over at Renee Kapuk.
We love to see it. Sign up to the mailing list so you can get weekly glow and grow tips straight to your inbox. The newsletters are still going out, still going strong. That community is still hefty. And so plug in, all right? But sisters, we hope that you have an amazing week. Enjoy yourself. Love on yourself. No matter what time you're listening to this. And we'll talk to you very, 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 very soon. Next week you might have something special coming.
Oh, just a little something.
Yeah. But as always, keep glowing and growing.